everyone, so today I want to show you this card, which I think is called a triple panel shutter card. It's one of the shutter card family anyway. So obviously it folds down. This will fit in a, well, it actually measures 4 by 6. So a 4 by 6, an envelope for a 4 by 6 card, but it opens out to be much bigger, stands like that, looks quite nice. It's not too difficult to make, to be honest with you. I've used on here the Antonio Makes September VIP kit, which is called The Sound of Music. So this paper that's how it looks. You've got like this hasn't been stuck on. You've already got the printed birds over the top of the notes. Really beautiful. So I've tried to do it as best I can. Then on this side here, I've actually used 2 of the tags. So this is one of the tags here, and this is the other tag. And there is a join there, but you can't really see it. So I just thought I'd use those because I really like that, and that would have been nice as a paper. If you'd done it as a paper, that would have been wonderful, but I've just kind of used, so this whole bit here is one sheet. And if you look back at if you look at the Antonio Makes third drop, I can't remember what I called it anyway, but it's about the September VIP kit, you'll see it mentioned on there. But yes, that's what I've used on this. So I like the way it's turned out, and I've just put some glossy accents on every other bird just to make them sort of pop out a little bit. The card that I use, the lilac card, this is a 240 GSM, I believe, lilac card from Paper Mill Direct. The purple Miri is also from Paper Mill Direct, and I think that was about 270, something like that. This was just out of my stash. And then on the back, again, I can't remember where that was from. If I find where it was from, I'll add it. But I think it was a magazine one, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, so that's the card we're going to be doing today. I've also got a cheats version of this card that looks very similar. So if you opened up like that, it would look very similar. But it's just a bit easier to do. So that will be coming up soon. So yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so for this card, you're going to need a few bits. I've already stuck my mats and patterns together, just because I wanted to make things a little bit easier, because there's quite a few little bits. So to start with, you're going to need a base card that is 6 inches by 12 inches. If you haven't got 12 inches and you have 6 by 6 card blanks that are actually 6 by 6, then you can use those. If not, you can get away by doing a 6 by maybe 11 3/4. But you just need to change the size of your mats and your patterns. And what I would advise you do is, if you follow the score lines I'm going to do, but the very last score line you do, it just means that end piece will be slightly smaller than what I'm going to be doing now. But you can size it, it's not a problem. So we're going to take our scoreboard, and we're just going to lay this in. And what we're going to do is, we're not actually going to score all the way down, because it's one of them like shutter cards again. So you know how shutter cards go. So at the 2 inch, we're going to score 2 inches, but we're only going to score we're going to score down 1 1/4, and then the same from the bottom. So what I would do is just turn it round and just do it again. So roughly that's 1 1/4. If you don't go quite far enough, don't worry. Then we're going to do it at 4, and at 4 inches you're going to score all the way from top to bottom. Okay, the next one, which is 6 inches, again you're just going to score down 1 1/4, and then turn it over, do the same on the other side, and then at 8 inches you score all the way down. So if you're using a 5 3/4, sorry, not 5 3/4, 11 3/4 length piece of card, or 11 1/2, whatever it is, it just means that this panel here will be slightly narrower depending on what length you're going for. If you keep it 6 inches wide, it just means your final card size is going to turn out slightly different. You know, you can alter things, it's really not too difficult. Right, so that is all the scoring done. Okay, so what we're going to do now, because I had to guess how far down 1 1/4 was, I'm just going to turn this round. So this is my 2 inch score line. Okay, I've just turned it around because obviously my scoreboard measures from the right to the left, but normally everybody works left to right. So on the top there, where you got that score line, I'm just going to come down, just mark at 1 1/4, sorry, there, and the same here, 1 1/4, which is there, and I'm going to do the same on that 6 inch line. So your third score line along. So we're going to mark at 1 1/4 there and at 1 1/4 there. Now the reason why we're making a quick mark is because we are now going to cut from that mark across to that mark, and from that mark across to that mark. So let me just turn this at a bit of an angle. So we're going to cut from the 2" across to the 6" line. So there's one, and then we're going to do the same over here. Okay, so you should end up with that. So you've got a cut there and a cut there, and you've basically got like a sideways T piece here and a sideways T piece here. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to flip it over because most of my score lines are this way around. These two need to be mountain, so that needs to be a mountain. Those two need to be a valley, a mountain, but that also needs to be valley, mountain, valley. Okay, so we're just going to go in and just going to give it a bit of a coax, just so it kind of knows what it needs to be doing. And this one in the middle just needs to be like that. And when you've got it kind of getting there, you can go ahead and kind of squish it into place. And this is where you just need to make sure you're not going off and you're nice and straight. I'm going to burnish all those score lines. Okay, so you should end up with that. So now what we're going to do is we are now going to fold this one in as a valley. Okay, turn it over so I can get a good thing on it. Okay, so with it the right way around, you should have, sorry, this way around, you should have this basically. This is what you should end up with. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to stick on the panels here first, and then I'll take you through all of those as well. So for these ones here, if you're doing a 6 by 12, you're going to need 2 matte panels that are 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. You need 1 pattern panel that's 3 1/2 by 5 1/2, and 1 white panel that's 3 1/2 by 5 1/2. The pattern one's going to go on the front, and the white one's going to go on the back, and that's what you're going to write on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick that down. Okay, so you should end up with that. So you've got your pattern panel there, and you've got your other panel on the back there. So then you want to do, if you do these 2 pieces next, so these 2 pieces, the mat for these need to be 3 1/4 tall by 3 3/4 wide, and the pattern is 3 inches by 3 1/2, and they're going to go on there like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add those on. Okay, so I've stuck those middle panels on, and then you're going to need 8 across, 4 for the top and 4 for the bottom. And these are, the mats for these are 1 inch by 1 3/4. Now the patterns, I've actually done them as 3/4 by 1 1/2. But if you wanted to make them slightly bigger, you could, because I've got quite a big border there for the size of them. And they're just going to go along the bottom there and along the top. Okay, so I've gone ahead and stuck the pieces on top and bottom. So that's basically you pretty much done. So all I need to do now is add on the greeting. I'm going to put a greeting on here. And then I was toying with the idea of adding some glossy accents or something to the birds, just to make them pop out. You could put a greeting on the front there. But I think since it's going to be displayed like that, I think I'm going to put my greeting here. So I'm going to go ahead now and add some glossy accents onto the front here, onto these birds, and also I'm going to add a greeting on here. Okay, so my glossy accents has dried now, so that's good. So you've just got a little shine just on every other bird there, and there we are, it's finished. So just easy to do, or relatively easy to do. Obviously there's There's a cheats version coming up soon. But yeah, you can just see the glossy accents just shining there. So yeah, and it's based on the back to right. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment down below. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.